How I met Ryan's pretty simple, man. So I met my wife. My wife and I have been together, it'll be 15 years in January. And I met her through an AOL chat room, actually. She was friends with Rob. I met Rob the very following weekend, and I met Ryan the very following weekend after that. So I've known Ryan almost as long as I've known my wife. She was friends with Alden first. That's pretty minor. When it comes to stories, man, I can't count how many times at the house over on her shell I used to just randomly crash. It was never a thing. I helped them move out there when they move out, and we did a lot of things together, man. Like we all used to be kind of like that as far as hanging out on a weekly basis. There's a lot of stories. One that stands out the most to me, though. We went over there one night. It was a rolling party. Everybody was rolling, but me. So we had brought over 2 bottles of alcohol. And I brought over, with my buddy Daniel Duncan, most people know him as, a fifth of 1800 tequila and like a liter-sized bottle of Captain Morgan's eggnog. It was Christmas time, so we just decided to be in the spirit of the eggnog. They made Hunch Punch, which everybody knows. They use green alcohol. That shit was always strong. So we get there. It's a rolling party. Nobody's really drinking. I wasn't really, I would occasionally do that kind of stuff, but not nearly as much as everybody else. Especially, back then. I was still probably 19, I guess. So Daniel takes 1 shot with me. I drink the rest of the bottle of tequila. I drank the entire bottle of eggnog and maybe 5 or 6 cups of the Hunch Punch. Ended up falling down the outside stairs of her shell house. I get down to the bottom. I just crawl over to the trash pile and I make a nice little bed for myself in bags of trash. And I start calling everybody that I love, telling them I love them and I'm going to die. I'm not going to make it. And God knows how close I got to it because that's probably the worst alcohol poisoning I've ever had in my life. But I called my wife, my girlfriend at the time, told her that. She just laughs at me because she just knows I'm drunk and I'm going to be fine. Ryan comes downstairs, tries to get me up, put me in the house. I'm like, no, just let me die. Just let me die. So Ryan leaves. I think all's well. The next thing I know, Ryan brings a fucking comforter and a pillow down for me to sleep in the trash with because I wouldn't get up and come upstairs. And he knew I'd be fine, but he wasn't going to fight with me over it. And that's the heart he had, man. That's he could have just as easily gone upstairs. There was a bunch of girls upstairs. He could have just left me down there and I would have been fine. But he thought to bring one of his own blankets, comforters down, his own pillows, and put it in a trash pile with me, just so I'm calm. It's kind of heart Ryan had, and I'm generally not the type to get very emotional, especially not around people. It's when I get alone, and I'm alone with my thoughts, that I get emotional. So when Ryoga called me the other night, or the other day to tell me, I'd already heard, but I could hear the emotion of his voice, and I told him, I was like, you don't want to be alone, come hang out over here, man. It wasn't until the next day when I was out working and I was by myself that, I started having these memories and I was alone with my thoughts and I started to tear up and it bothered me, man. It's been a bad year. I hate to see things like this. And I hate it even more when we get together like this and you see people you haven't seen in years. And we all talk about, we should do this more often, but we know it probably won't happen. It's talk. But when things like this happen, like what happened with Ryan, it shows you that you're not promised tomorrow. And that's why we should make things like this happen more often. We should get together, even if it's just like on the anniversary of this every year, just to spend some time together. And I hope that's how things turn out going forward. That's basically all I have to say. And I'll add this in. It's almost off topic, but if you hold grudges, you have somebody you absolutely hate, let it go. Let it go. Don't hold grudges. Don't hate people. You can strongly dislike someone. Don't hold those things, because something like this could happen and you could completely regret all the years you didn't go back and say you're sorry, just over cried. And that has nothing to do with Ryan or anybody else. It's just my thoughts. Don't burn bridges, and try to not leave any grudges in your wake. That's pretty much all I have to say.